Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Billy spins out, Audra's tough night, Sally's sob story. The Young and the Restless, Y&R, spoilers for Monday, September 22nd reveal that Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, is out of control, and Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, gives horrible news to Audra Charles, Zuleika Silva. Over at Kane Ashby's, Billy Flynn, Choo Choo Train, Billy and Kane have a shouting match. Billy can't believe that Kane fired him, he has so much to offer. This could lead Billy straight to the subsequent cabal that is attempting to assassinate GC's OG, Victor Newman, Eric Braeden. Several parties in GC are fighting for the right to use Kane's AI software, and yet none of them have actually laid eyes on it. If Kane were selling used cars on oceanfront property in Arizona, he'd be a gazillionaire. Kane is rattling everyone. Kane could say that volatile Billy is proving his point with his histrionics. Billy Boy is simply too erratic and emotionally labile for Kane's taste, a veritable bull in a china shop. Kane can't allow a loose cannon like Billy to ruin his intricate plot against Victor. End of story. That doesn't mean Billy won't be able to win over Kane in the end, however, we predict that Kane will let the hothead loose. Kane may even throw Billy off his caboose, leading to more venom. Billy has never met an enemy he doesn't like. Kane and Victor meet later. Victor and Kane meet. Victor thought his recent threats would make Kane fold his tent, but that didn't work. Victor wants Kane to consider his latest offer, but not for too long, because he now has a new incentive to entice him. Kane must make his decision before Victor leaves. Sally and Audra dish. Elsewhere, Sally tells Audra all about Billy's meltdown and how it led to the grounding of Abbott Communications. Silly Sally was under the impression that Billy was in control, but now everyone in town can tell her, "I told you so." Sally details the lurid breakdown, giving Audra one more thing to worry about. Will Audra now try to make up with Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic? In one fell swoop she lost her business and her man. What happens next in Genoa City? Spoilers hint that Audra is unwilling to let her dream guy go and tries to convince Nate one more time to see her side of things. However, Red Hot the Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Audra has rejection on the horizon, and that means another audacious move from the sneaky minx is on the way. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with the Young and the Restless right now. Come back here often for the hottest Y&R updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. Jill returns and turns Billy and Kane's world upside down. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, has only been a face and voice on a video screen in recent months. But that's about to change as Walton returns to the set on Y&R. Billy Abbott's, Jason Thompson, latest flailing has caused Jill great consternation. She can't believe that her son is so hurt by her selling Chancellor to Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, that he would put himself in the moustache's crosshairs. Yet, that's what he's done. Meanwhile, the man Jill thinks of as a son, Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, can also use motherly care. Walton's iconic character, who dates back to this show's origin in the 1970s, needs to help him get out of a soapy hole he dug as well. The great Jill Abbott returns to Genoa City, Wisconsin. Walton is one of the great actors in this show's history. While she isn't the original actor to portray Jill, Walton made the role her own through many years of indelible performances. Jill's legendary battles with Catherine Chancellor, Gene Cooper, will forever remain part of this show's lore. Newer fans learned of that history through retrospective scenes showing Jill and Catherine going at it in moments that were tense, hilarious, and forever memorable. Billy needs his mother, even though he would vehemently dispute that assertion. His admission to Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, that he wants to get back at Jill for selling Chancellor to Victor solidifies Sally Spectra's, Courtney Hope, fear that Billy is overboard. Kane Ashby also needs to be mothered. It would be nice if Kane's biological mother, Genevieve Atkinson, portrayed by the legendary Jeannie Francis, Laura Collins on General Hospital, hadn't been seen in years. Daniel Goddard, Kane, was working through his long run when Francis joined the late Tristan Rogers, Colin Atkinson, on Y&R in 2011 and 2012. While Kane was recently with his father, shortly before and through Colin's death, no sighting of Genevieve has happened. Of course, Frances' presence on GH makes Genevieve's return unlikely because she is the only actor to portray this character. So, a recast would be needed. Filling the gap is Jill, who was conned into believing Kane was her son when this character initially debuted. That ruse was exposed. Yet it didn't create permanent damage, and Kane came to think of her as a mother, partly because Frances' character didn't have that skill. With all that's happened, Kane needs advice, especially regarding his family. Jill is fond of Lily Winters, Crystal Cullill, and will offer sound advice regarding reconciliation efforts. Billy Abbott still has a chance. Billy was talking to himself in a bizarre sequence before Jack and Victoria's arrival. While their talk didn't change Billy's mind, it did provide another out opportunity. Later, Kane called Billy and told him he was not proceeding with the plan and wouldn't give him the artificial intelligence tool to use against Victor. That happened because of a conversation Kane had with Lily. Therefore, Billy still has a chance to recover. But viewers know that Thompson's character has gone gambler mode and always seems to find a way to sabotage any progress he's made or goodwill he's earned with his loved ones. That makes Jill's pending arrival vital at this point in the plot. This site is a leading source for everything linked to The Young and the Restless. Check back regularly for Y&R spoilers and news. Billy spins out, the fallout of his own impulses. Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, has always walked a fine line between brilliance and destruction, but this time his spiral feels particularly dangerous. For years, his family and friends have warned him that his impulsive behavior, his gambling instincts, and his inability to manage his emotions would eventually lead him down a path he couldn't walk back from. More than just a software dispute, Billy Flynn's train fight with Kane Ashby on Monday is the latest incident in a long line of self-sabotage. The Abbott liar cannot bear the humiliation of losing their job. In Billy's mind, Kane is not just a business partner but a betrayer. He sees himself as the man who always brings creativity, passion, and innovation to the table, yet no one seems to trust him enough to let him lead. Billy sees Kane cutting ties as yet another sign that everyone underestimates him. But to Kane, Billy is nothing more than a liability. They get into a heated argument that is full of yelling, accusations, and a few truths that neither man wants to hear. Kane is cold and practical. He has been playing second fiddle to the Abbotts and Newmans for far too long, and now that he has access to the enigmatic AI tool, a powerful weapon, he is determined to prevent anyone from derailing his mission. Billy's volatility is proof enough to Kane that he cannot be trusted. Billy spirals into dangerous territory as a result of this rejection, and to make matters worse, he begins to discuss vengeance in ways that even shock his siblings Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman. For Billy, the enemy isn't just Kane, it's Victor Newman, Eric Braeden. Billy has a habit of lashing out at Victor, and now, feeling cornered, he's convinced that bringing the moustache down is the only way to prove his worth. But everyone who is close to him can see that this obsession is a ticking time bomb. Audra's tough night, losing Nate and losing control. While Billy's breakdown dominates Genoa City's business gossip, Audra Charles, Zuleika Silva, is quietly going through her own breakdown. Audra has always carried herself with a mix of confidence, intelligence, and cunning. She's the type of woman who doesn't like to lose, whether it's in business or in love. But on this particular night, she finds herself on the losing end of both battles. Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, in her usual blunt fashion, delivers the news of Billy's implosion to Audra. For Sally, there's almost a sense of vindication. She had warned people about trusting Billy too easily, and now she has proof that her instincts were right. However, Audra reacts negatively to the news. She is directly affected by the collapse of Abbott Communications, and the grief of losing Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, is mixed with the stress of losing her professional footing. Nate was supposed to be Audra's victory. He represented not just romance but also stability and influence. Yet her manipulations and ruthless ambition drove a wedge between them. Nate saw through her games and wasn't willing to compromise his integrity or his heart for someone he couldn't fully trust. Audra now feels trapped as Sally describes Billy's chaos in detail. She's lost her partner in love, her footing in business, and, perhaps most painfully, her reputation. But Audra isn't the type to wallow for long. Spoilers suggest she makes one last desperate attempt to win Nate back, appealing to the chemistry they once shared and the future they could still build. Nate, sadly for her, does not change. His rejection is brutal and final. That rejection sets the stage for Audra to make another daring move, one that could shock Genoa City and reshape alliances yet again. Because if Audra can't have what she wants through persuasion, she'll find another way to get it. Sally's sob story, playing the victim again. Sally Spectra has been through more than her share of heartbreak, but she has also built a reputation for exaggerating her victimhood when things don't go her way. After witnessing Billy's meltdown, Sally doesn't just walk away quietly, she makes it known to anyone who will listen. She paints herself as the woman who believed in Billy when no one else did, only to be humiliated when his recklessness destroyed yet another opportunity. Sally's suffering is real to some. She genuinely wanted to believe that Billy had turned a corner, that his struggles with gambling, impulsivity, and insecurity were behind him. She wanted a partner she could rely on. Instead, she finds herself once again standing in the rubble of someone else's chaos. Sally's constant retelling of her sob story, on the other hand, gives the impression to some that she is deflecting responsibility and avoiding responsibility for her own actions. Sally simply chose to ignore the warning signs that had been there since the beginning. Sally's storytelling also has another layer. She positions herself as the insider, the woman in the know, by sharing Billy's implosion with Audra and others. It's her way of regaining relevance in a town that has often dismissed her as an outsider. Yet as she continues to play the victim, Sally risks alienating potential allies who are tired of her dramatics. Will she shift her narrative toward empowerment, or will she continue to fall into the poor me category? Her next big plot could be shaped by that choice. Jill Abbott returns, a game changer. Just when things in Genoa City couldn't get messier, Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, storms back into town. For months she's been a distant voice on a video screen, but now she's back in the flesh, and she's furious at the state of affairs. Billy's breakdown and his fixation on Victor force Jill to confront her son's worst tendencies. She is no longer able to watch as he kills himself. Jill is also deeply concerned about Kane. Though their relationship started with deception, remember when she thought Kane was her son, over the years, they have developed a mother-son bond of their own. With Kane digging himself deeper into a battle with Victor, Jill feels compelled to step in before he loses everything. Jill has always been a woman who could command a room, and her arrival promises fireworks. Her dynamic with Billy is particularly explosive. Billy resents her for selling Chancellor to Victor, viewing it as the ultimate betrayal. But Jill sees it as a business decision that saved the company. Now, Billy's determination to get back at her proves to Jill just how far gone he is. The question is whether Jill's tough love can pull Billy back from the brink, or whether her presence will only ignite his fury further. The dangerous gamble of Kane, the Victor factor. Victor Newman has never been one to give up when he loses. His showdown with Kane over the AI software is proof of that. Though Victor initially thought intimidation would work, he quickly realized that Kane wasn't going to fold so easily. As a result, Victor adjusts his strategy and makes Kane a new deal that may entice him. The catch: Kane must decide quickly before Victor walks away for good. Kane is caught in a dangerous game. On one side, he has Victor, the most powerful man in Genoa City, pressuring him. On the other, he has Billy, unstable and desperate, pushing him to make reckless choices. And now, with Jill back in the picture, Kane faces yet another layer of pressure. His carefully constructed plan may begin to unravel under the weight of all these competing forces. If Kane gives in to Victor, he risks losing control of the very thing he fought so hard to protect. But if he refuses, he risks becoming Victor's permanent enemy. Either way, the stakes are higher than ever, and Kane must decide whether he is willing to gamble everything to prove himself. What will occur next? The fallout from these storylines is setting up a domino effect across Genoa City. Billy could spiral further into revenge mode, targeting not only Victor but also Kane and even his own family. With Jill's return, fans can expect explosive confrontations and perhaps an intervention to save Billy from himself. Audra faces rejection from Nate, which may push her into a new scheme. Her resilience and cunning ensure that she won't stay down for long. Viewers can expect her to plot her way back into power. Sally must decide whether to keep wallowing in self-pity or rise from the ashes yet again. Her future may depend on whether she chooses to evolve or continue repeating the same mistakes. Kane is at an impasse. His decision about Victor's offer could determine whether he cements his place as a true power player in Genoa City or whether he becomes another casualty in Victor's long history of crushing opponents. Jill is a possibility. Her return has the potential to shift the balance of power, reunite fractured relationships, and remind everyone in town that she remains one of Y&R's most formidable players. Final thoughts. The beauty of The Young and the Restless is that every character's personal drama inevitably collides with someone else's. Billy's spiral affects Sally, Sally's storytelling rattles Audra, Audra's schemes threaten Nate, Kane's machinations enrage Victor, and Jill's return promises to shake all of them to the core. Genoa City thrives on this messy interconnectedness, and fans can expect a roller coaster of betrayal, heartbreak, ambition, and power plays.